Hike your own hike, nomad your own nomad. Experiment with the options of this unique lifestyle so you know what works for you, and get out there and do it. Hey y'all, hanging out at an undisclosed parking lot and realizing that, oh my gosh, it's coming up on a year of being a nomad. In some ways, it's gone really fast. In some ways, it's been a year, but in a good way. So now that I have all this experience under my belt and can speak with some authority, I thought I would share my story of how this nomad got here and some of the elements of how I do things. So, August 3rd, 2019 is the day I had my epiphany about choosing to be a nomad. I had no idea when I was going to pull that trigger, but I knew I was going to. A friend of mine, and you know who you are, was constantly bragging about how great Philly was. So I'd finally gotten to the point where, okay, fine, I'm going to check it out. But how do you do that with coordinating vacation time and travel time and not having enough of either? And around that same time frame, I happened to bump into somebody who was a nomad and got acquainted with that part of the YouTube universe. Had started watching a video here and there, and it suddenly made the connection in my brain. Oh my God, I can do that. And combine the thread of having gone backpacking a couple times in high school and just being rocked by the concept of I have everything I need on my back. And also wanting to be able to teach my retirement class at some rotating locations around the country that I liked during the time of year that I wanted to. It all just came together and it was amazing. Again, I had no idea when I would be able to pull that trigger, with the depressing notion of having to wait until I was 65. Ugh. But jumped in with both feet and sides of my brain, doing the massive deep dive research that I typically do with a topic that grabs me. Inhaling every video I possibly could, taking notes on any good tip or idea that I bumped into. And I started incorporating as much as I possibly could about the nomad lifestyle into my sticks and bricks living as I possibly could, including taping out an area in my room that I thought would be roughly the equivalent of a vehicle that I'd be living in, doing the same kind of cooking I thought I would be doing, toileting, everything as much as possible, just to fuel that and keep that idea and dream alive. And then the lockdowns happened. That was rough. Having decided on something that lit me up inside like nothing had for a very long time, and then have all these restrictions placed on me, that wasn't fun. But at a certain point, I decided we're just going to do this anyway and keep taking one small baby step after the other, which led to me buying my first vehicle, a Prius limo. My decision was fueled by reliability and gas mileage. I loved that car. And I used it to practice by going to campgrounds in the area and doing, again, as much as possible, as similarly as I would be on the road as a nomad. And for those purposes, it was a great fit. I had a lot of fun with it, but there were problems. The catalytic converter, of course, got stolen. And because of that, not wanting to leave it parked on the street, I found really reasonable underground storage, which was great for Midwestern winters and hot summers. The clearance on the car is famously low, and that obviously limits where you can go as a nomad if you're interested in boondocking out in the backcountry. And I found that a modified vehicle makes people very reluctant to work on it, or even consider that it could get up on a hoist. It's only 18 feet long. It would have worked. So there was a moment in which I was in a time crunch and a vehicle crunch. I had driven that car from Minneapolis to Santa Fe to Portland, Oregon to Minneapolis, and on the day I got it back in the driveway in Minneapolis, gray smoke coming out of the engine, and couldn't find anybody to work on it. So that was the crunch. And in one of the more miraculous, serendipitous moments of my life, of which there have been many, I came upon the vehicle that I currently have, and can't speak more highly of Poquet Auto Sales in Minneapolis for helping me out with that. Thank you so much, Colin. I decided to take a 30-day leave of absence as another step in the direction of being serious about this dream of mine. And during that period, my mom went into the hospital, and my parents asked if I could come and hang out with them in that time frame. So the leave of absence turned into deciding that, you know what, somebody needs to be here, and I'm just going to stop working now. Totally unplanned and totally perfect. It just happened to work out that way. So because I'd already been in the process of downsizing and scanning things and getting rid of possessions like a nomad does, it wasn't that much of a stretch to finish that process. So I hightailed it back to where I had been living, finished all of that up, and went back out to where my parents were and became a nomad. I would call myself a hybrid nomad, maybe. I enjoy being out in the backcountry as well as stealth parking in the city. There's parts of me that need each of those, and I'm not happy unless I can do both. And that is one of the fantastic aspects of being a nomad, is that you get to choose every single day how you're going to do it. Nobody can tell you. You can copy other people, but unless you're doing it the way you want to, you're not going to be happy. So it's been 3 years today since I crossed that line in my head, and I've literally never been happier. I am currently working on my stealth parking bucket list and am deciding where I'm going to stay tonight based on that. As a baby nomad, I did a lot of truck stop parking lots, Walmart parking lots, and BLM land. Those are the areas where I cut my teeth as a nomad. Also areas that were recommended by other nomads on all the apps that are available. Done a few Cracker Barrel parking lots, started to add rest areas to my repertoire, also some residential areas or stealth parking, and hospital parking lots. I have also learned to expect the unexpected and allow for my gut to point me in the direction of a fantastic experience that I wouldn't have if I had limited myself to some plans that I might have made in my head. You will find yourself on the spectrum between what has been called following Jello plans or biscotti plans. This also parallels the spectrum between comfort and freedom and what type of nomad that you're going to be. I definitely fall on the freedom end of things, and living in an SUV, I am a minimalist because I want to spend as much time out in Mama Nature as possible. I don't want to just basically transfer a sticks and bricks lifestyle into an RV or a van. No disrespect to folks who enjoy those venues of living, but it's just not for me. So there you have it. Acknowledgement and celebration of year one and many more. Talk to you later.